So in the military, you know, they got court martials, captain's mass, whatever you call it, for your service, and that's the end of somebody's career, basically. If you go to court martial, even if you're found not guilty, your career's probably over. There's a reason enough, and it stays in your record, so probably not going to get that higher promotion. And you got a bad taste, so you move on. Well, back in especially in the 70s, after Vietnam, drug use was very prevalent especially in Germany. Okay, it just was. In those days, smoking weed was the thing to do, even though it's not. These days it's a lot more tolerated. But back in the 80s, you would get drug tested all the time. They would call a muster alert, and they'd lock you in the barracks until you peed. Okay, after you peed in the bottle, you could go to work. So we had this guy. His first name Adam. Adam was his name. And I liked him. He was a good guy, His wife started messing around and left him. So after that, he kind of went hog wild and started partying, and he had to take a few visits to the doctor, and he was proud of it. I'll give him credit. He was proud. So in this, since he still lived off base, he could do whatever he wanted. Well, he started, he smoked anyway, which, this is the 80s. A lot of people in the service smoked. And he smoked weed, and not allowed, you get Article 15 or court martial, whatever. So he got an Article 15 for that. They took his rank, and you got to go to you have to go to I forgot, so you have to go to class to learn how to not smoke pot, because that's not a good thing. And well, nothing helped Adam. Nothing helped him. He was just bent on enjoying his life, and he did not care what he was told to do. He was a good cook, and when he came to work, he did his job. He never had any problems out of him. Not saying that he wasn't just plastered a few days, but enough that nobody really saw it. And the commander we had, this guy, Captain Jank, he didn't like him. He did not like this guy at all. He was, Captain Jank was one of those that, there was this straight line, and he didn't veer from it, and everybody had to go down this line, and he was a very smart man and very annoying. Nobody else really liked him because he was always trying to get everybody to do stuff that had nothing to do with him. So he stayed on Stacy, and they kept after him, because he was living off base. Well, you got to move on base, and now they kept after him. They kept beating him down, and like anybody, you just got your breaking point, and all of this started with a positive, P test. Oh, marijuana, yep, that's a serial killer right there, So, but they pulled him in one day, and they said, you got to get a haircut. Right, your hair's if your hair is touching your collar, it's too long, and commanders can make up their own rules, So whatever date and time came, and he went home and got drunk. Probably smoked him a couple joints, and the next day you saw him, and oh, there you go, straight to the captain's office. They wrote him up, and he wasn't the friendliest guy about it. Yeah, he didn't care, and that's the worst you can be with some of them. Yeah, I don't care. So they said, we're going to court-martial you. So they sent this guy to court-martial over a haircut. Yeah, Captain Jank, you're a true idiot, okay? And so my boss, I had this boss, Sergeant Velvenstitt. Now, if you Velvenstitt, dude, if you're hearing this, you were just an awesome guy to have. I'm telling you, if anybody had Sergeant Stitt, he was a good man. And so he went, this was his guy, and he'd been with Stacy for a couple years, and so he, obviously he had to go to the court-martial. And at the end of it, he was guilty because he had done another drug test, and he come back and he said, you're guilty. And when the judge goes to deliver his sentence, he looks at him and says, Private Adam, I sentence you to death. And the whole courtroom goes silent because, well, it was a haircut, and a little rebellion and a little pot, right? I mean, it's legal today. So, and then he lectured him, if you don't get your life together, you're gonna die and whatever. So ends up they gave him 30 days in Mannheim, and I remember that day, this guy Kelly drove him up there, and it was snowy, and oh man, Sergeant Stitt was so mad because Kelly wouldn't. We had the little German transport vans, and they would max out at 60 miles an hour, little 4-speeds, and cool vehicles, and they had three rows in the back, and so they're going up there, and everybody's just chilling out, and they probably got something to eat, and they get up there to drop him off, at the prison. And Sergeant Stitt was his boss, so he had the paperwork, and he had to surrender him. And he said everything was cool. He said, but when he got out that van, they came over and they started dogging him, and they was bumping him and everything else. They took all this stuff, and he just said, man, that was raw. I mean, the dude got a raw deal in the end, and so Adam Stacy, man, I hope your life has turned out good. It wasn't worth it. So I always wondered what happened to him. I hope he became a great chef because he was a good cook.